Hello and welcome to my video on how to install the new Status 570 TV antenna with Wi-Fi built in. So we'll get to that in a second, but what I wanted to do is show you what you get in the box. I was going to do a proper unboxing thing like the kids do on the internet, but unfortunately I had one here in stock and then someone came and bought it. So unfortunately I couldn't do that. So I've got the one here that I had installed and taken out that you'll see in the video in a minute. And I thought I'd just show you what you get in the box to give you an idea of make sure you're not missing anything or anything like that. So the first thing you get obviously is the aerial, and the difference with this is it's got this dome on the top, which I assume that's where all the technical gubbins is. But it looks fairly similar to the old Status 570, and obviously the pole's the same, and you can still twist it the same and make it horizontal or vertical. So that's the actual aerial. This one has got it's got a coax, and it's obviously got the aerial, the leads come and do the Wi-Fi booster that's in there. So that's the actual aerial itself. Then we've got the power pack. So this goes on the wall. You'll see in the video, I actually use a sticker to put it on there to stick it on. There are 2 screw holes that you can put in there if you want to use the screws to attach it. But the sticky stuff I use in the video is quite good actually, so it might be worth doing that. And then you've got a switch on the bottom there, and that's the power on that. Then you have the router itself, which is this thing here. You're able to take this away with you, so you don't have to have it actually connected to the aerial. If you've got your SIM card in here with your 5G, you can use this as a hotspot wherever you go. So you can take it into the awning or do whatever you like with that. But that actually clips onto there like that, and that sits on the wall, and then you can take it off and take it where you want. And then that goes into there for the power box, and you've got a power lead in here, which is this. You get the power lead with it as well. So that you'll see in the video how I connect that to the 12 volt. You just tap into the VP booster box that you've already got already. You just snip that and tap that into this, and then that gives you the 12 volt in here, and then you switch it on, and then that will act as a power pack. Or if you want to charge it without the power pack, you've got this cable here that you can just plug in and then charge this independently. Then you also got 2 little jump wires. These go from the ends of the cable, you put them onto there, and then they plug into this little bit here. They plug in there, probably can't see it there. That's where they plug in, and then that allows you to connect it to the antenna to give you the full boosting power. But like I say, you don't, if you're in a good area, you might not need that boost. And most of the time, you'll probably leave it there charging up, and it will give you the network in the Caravan. But I say, if you wanted to go down the beach or something, and I mean, you've got phones, so I don't quite know where you want to do that. But this is a standalone Wi-Fi hotspot when you've got your SIM card in there. So that's those as well. You've got the little jump cables. Then you've got instructions, Vision Plus upgrade. Oh, just to say, this is the upgrade kit because I'm obviously upgrading from the old aerial, so the roof mounting and everything else, and the antenna, the booster box is already in the Caravan. So this is why we've got the upgrade. If you haven't got an aerial already, and most Caravans do, other than some of the Coachmans, I think they use that little aerial, the little kind of whippy aerial, which pretty much didn't do anything. They weren't very good. So we used to end up installing the Status 570s anyway. I think there's another manufacturer made those. Use those as well. So if you haven't got a Status 570, you can get the whole kit, which gives you the roof mounting as well. And obviously you've got to start drilling big holes, and that's a bit of a different kettle of fish fitting that. But this one, if you've already got a Status 570 in the Caravan, that's straightforward. And as you will see in the video, you just take the old one out, put the new one in, bit of wiring, and Bob's your uncle. It's not quite that easy, but it ain't far off. So that tells you what you've got, gives you lots of information there. For dimensions and everything, tells you what you should have, and kind of a quick wiring diagram of how to do it. And you've also got a quick install guide for your router, for where to put your SIM card and things, but that's all fairly straightforward. And I'll talk about that in the video as well. So I signed up to gift gaff, and it was £12 for the month, I think. And the reason I got that is because I could cancel it straight away, and that because you don't want it running all year if you're not going to be in the Caravan all the time. So you want something that you can go very turn off and onable, as they said in that advert, gas advert, I think. Yeah, that's what you get in the box. pretty much. Very straightforward. I was just looking on their website actually. There is a Wi-Fi only antenna if you've got a vehicle like a horse, not a horse box, a lorry or something like that. If you wanted to put that onto a lorry or something like that, that doesn't go down through. It just sits on the top with an area coming with this wire coming down through. So you don't have to fit the whole thing to get the Wi-Fi. Now, the reason I think it's great is because obviously you're replacing what you've already got. You're not screwing more holes into the top of the Caravan and then having more cables going down through, because I know there are other systems out there already, but that does involve fitting more stuff to the roof. And what's the point when you can just replace this? I think this is a bit of a game changer, really. And I would have thought that going forward, most of the manufacturers will be fitting this rather than what they're doing at the moment. I know Swift were fitting a Wi-Fi system in some of their Caravans this year, and I saw another little box on top of the roof, but there's no point doing that when you could just, you know, instead of fitting the Status 570, you just fit this one here. So I would have thought that in years to come, the new vans, you'll be getting these fitted as standard, but we'll see. So I think that's covered everything. Without further ado, let's get on and show you how to fit it. So we've seen what comes in the box. Let's have a look at the original system as it is. So that's the TV antenna that we're going to be taking out. Then we got the VP3 unit there. Now it's always a good idea before you start doing anything to make sure that that actually works, because we are going to be doing a bit of wiring. So we can see the blue light on there and make sure it clicks on and off, so we know we've got power to that unit. Then we need to take off the clips for the wires that are already there, that was coming from the original 570. So we've got 2 on that side and 2 on the other side. So remove those, and then we've actually got some clips up above on the fascia up the top there to unclick. They're just hooked in, and it depends on what your system is. You may well have clips all the way along, you may not have any clips, so obviously it depends what you got to do, but you've got to take the wire off. Then undo the wire from the VP3 unit, which is a bit fiddly sometimes actually. It doesn't want to come off sometimes. So sometimes you may have to get a little screwdriver, I think a spanner, I think it's a number 10, to undo it. And it can be a bit fiddly, don't want to come off. So then you've got the aerial cable, the coax cable, away from the unit, and it's ready to be taken out. So first of all, undo the nut completely and wind it off, and then run it through the length of the cable to get it out completely. And then you have to get your ladder out and get up onto the roof. And here we have the Status 570, the original one. So all we do is grab hold of it, slide it up through the housing and off and out. Pretty straightforward. Now you don't have to do anything with that fitting on the roof, because it's all it can all stay where it is, because this is a aftermarket refit replacing the old one. So then you get the new aerial and put it down through into the fitting and slide it all the way down. Now that is watertight, that fitting, so you don't have to seal it or do anything with that. And then we have the new aerial. And you can see it coming down through the roof fitting. Like that. So don't forget to put that on, which is the nut that goes actually on and fixes it in. It's really annoying, which I actually did, which I didn't show, where you put the wires on and then you forget to do that. Okay, because it's really frustrating when you've wired them all in and then think, oh, I've not done that. So then you can locate the wires into the holes that are already there. Now there was a problem with this, and I'll talk about that in a second. So wire that in, screw that one in to make it nice and neat. Obviously the holes are already there, so just reinstate the screws back in the original holes. And then clip the wires up into the clips above the fascia there. So this wire is significantly shorter than the old wire, which did give me a little bit of a problem trying to actually get it onto the VP unit, again, which is a bit tricky to do. And it does restrict where you can actually fit the unit, which we'll see in a minute. Luckily, there was just enough to get there. So this was the problem. We had the original holes, but it didn't allow enough free cable to be able to actually put the antenna right up into the air. And that was using the original hole. So what you have to do is unscrew that and put it in a bit further up to allow enough travel of cable to be able to push the antenna right up into the roof. Now I am going to reinstate the old system in here, so I'm not going to drill any more holes, but that's what you'd normally have to do, is you have to re-drill that hole there to allow the antenna to go right up into the air and give it its full travel. But I'm not going to do that because, like I said, I'm going to reinstate the old aerial into here anyway. Now this is the power unit, and as it says, it has its power cable coming out and a switch on the bottom there. So you can stick that to the wall or screw it into the wall. Now to get the power to that, what they've suggested is take the power off the VP unit and you can splice into that to get the 12 volts. Now don't forget, we've tested it and that is the actual cable you get with the new unit. Now I'm using these very handy little connectors because, like I said, I'm going to reinstate it, so I don't want to do anything that's going to inhibit that. So I've cut the wire and given myself two 12 volt. Obviously I've turned this off before I've started to play with these wires. So trim them down. Give yourself a bit of bare cable. And then these little fittings are very handy because you can just clip those in, and they're easy to clip in and out. You're not getting pliers and anything and actually making joints. So that just pushes in like that. Then you clip the little orange thing down and it locks it in place. So do that with the other power. So you got obviously got red to red. So you've got the main feed in, which is 12 volt, and then you've got one of the reds going off to the VP3, and then you've got the other positive going to the new power unit. So that's why we need three. You've got in, and you've got off to the VP3, and then the other one. So that's the one that goes to the VP3, and then the other one that goes in, and that connects all the positives together. Like that. Again, you might use something different because you can put it back through that hole. These were too big to actually fit through the original hole. Or they would go in, but they'd be very difficult to get out, so I didn't do it. So we've got all the power now connected. Now get the end of the wire, plug it in, and then you can plug that into the bottom of the main power unit, and then turn the main power on. Just give it a test. So we've got 12 volt going up to that, we've got 12 volt there, so that's all good. Then connect the unit wires that you get out of the box into the side. They can be a bit fiddly. They're the kind of the jump wires from the unit to the aerial. And then connect those like that, just screw in. So I just clicked the wires together just to see where I could actually locate the unit, because like I said, the wires were a bit tight, so it doesn't give you a huge amount of scope. So yeah, it will just about go in there where it needs to go. So like I said, I just got a bit of tape, which I think is more than adequate because it doesn't actually weigh that much, rather than screwing in, but obviously it's up to you. But because I'm going to reinstate the old one, I didn't want to make any holes in my Caravan. Now I had put it a little bit on the skew there, so you'd be a bit more careful with it than I did. It looks okay there, but I think when I locate the other bit, it looks a bit on the skew. So that's the power cable that goes onto that to charge it up, and then you kind of twist it in. Yeah, it looks a bit skewed, and then connect it in like that. And then that is using the full power of the antenna and tuck them behind there. So it's a nice, neat little job. Like I said, that's the only place I could really put it because of the wire length. And then just to neaten it up, let's put that screw in the original hole. Turn it on. And you can see it's coming on and off. So it's got 12-volt power, same as the VP3 unit. And that's it really, pretty quick and easy to do. And like I said, I haven't tidied the main wires up because I'm going to swap it all back again. But you can do a bit better job on that because you'll have the time to do it. So that just goes back down the hole, and you could probably do with an extra clip just to tidy it up. You can see the battery is charging, so it's a bit flat, and that's on. And you press it and hold the button to turn it on. And it takes a second or two to fire up. And when it does, it comes on and shows you the main screen. Now, it's a bit tricky to get this one off because of the aerial wires were so tight. A bit of a fiddling, it comes up. And then the second it will show no SIM. To connect your devices to the network, you need to have a SIM installed. So without the SIM installed, it would just say no SIM, and that's how it comes in the box. There isn't a SIM that's been provided from Vision Plus because they decided that you want to probably put your own in, and you might want to have one. So they didn't want to add a cost when you physically probably wouldn't actually need to have it anyway. So I ordered one from giffgaff, so I got a little SIM card in, and I've already set the giffgaff thing up on my phone and signed up to a month data, which was £12. And then the beauty of that is you can cancel it. Whoa, hang on a minute. I've had the boffins at Vision Plus have a look at this video, and they said fantastic, apart from a couple of things that I need to tell you not to do that I did. The first one is you shouldn't put the SIM card into the router when it's on, which is what you just seen me do. So make sure you turn the router off before you put the SIM card in. I don't think it'll explode or anything, but it's just not best practice. So yeah, don't do that. So I popped it in, and then it comes up with the giffgaff thing there saying that it's ready to go. So you've got 4G on there because it's using the 4G network to create a Wi-Fi network. Okay, so then what you need to do is go into the menu. Now to do that, you have a little arrow on the side there, and you have the select button. So if you select to go into the menu, and then you can scroll down using the arrow to where you want to go. And cancel that again. Okay, and back into the menu. Now what we want is the password. So click select on that, and then you have the QR code. So if you get the device, your phone or whatever it is that you want to connect to the internet, just scan the QR code and it will connect to it. Now there's two on here, that's the 4G one, and then if you click next, you got the 5G one, which is obviously a different QR code. So if you scan those two so that it's locked into your phone or device, then you can select them and you don't have to do this again, because your phone is actually connected to it already. So that's the 5G one. My phone's connected to it now, I believe. Obviously I'm videoing at the moment, so it's hard to see. But then you can select your 4G or your 5G, go back, go all the way down to cancel, and then there you go. Okay, so yeah, it's starting to show that there's some data coming down because my phone's connected to it. There you go. And that's how you do it. So then if you get another phone, you just scan the QR code and then log in, and then you're good to go. Now this is standalone, so you can take it out in the awning if you need to, if you want, or take it with you wherever you're going, because it is using the 5G or the 4G network. Now the advantage of it here is you're then connecting to the booster, which is the TV aerial and the Wi-Fi booster as well. So if your signal's not very good, then you can connect it to the aerial, and obviously you can push your aerial up through the roof as you would do with your normal 570, and it's going to give you a much better signal gain. So if your 4G or your 5G isn't very good in a certain area, being able to connect it to the TV aerial is going to be a real boost, and it will give you a much better signal. So there you go. I think it's pretty good. So there we have it. The system is fully installed. We have the of it all on and using the data. I did use a piece of sticky on the back of here instead of screws, because if you did want to take it out and put it in another Caravan, then you can do that, and then you can reinstate the old aerial if you keep hold of that, obviously, so that you can move this unit onto your new Caravan if you do change it. You've got the switch on and off there. That then powers the unit itself. You can charge it independently with a cable that they supply with it, and you don't have to have it on here. Like I said in the last section, it is actually independent, and this is just a booster to being able to use the aerial to get maximum coverage if you are in a dodgy area. I used the word boost the signal, or the implication that the signal was boosted by the antenna, but it's not. And that's what I thought. I thought there was a bit of gubbins in there that kind of boost the signal, like those things you put on top of the TV that you plug in, that you put some batteries in. That's, I mean, I was being a bit naive, but that's how I thought it worked. But that's not actually the case. So what actually happens is, because the router is inside the Caravan, which is effectively a Faraday cage because it's got metal outside. I know some have got polyurethane and GRP, which I'll talk about in a second, but it's effectively inhibiting the signal being able to get to that router. Now what the antenna does is give the signal that's outside and is a lot easier to get hold of. It brings that signal in down through the wire and to the router, so it's not kind of inhibited by the side walls of the Caravan and things like that. So it doesn't boost the signal, it just kind of brings it in and deposits it into the router in a much more effective way. Now, interestingly, actually, I didn't know this, when I don't know why I would, but when I was talking to the guys at Vision Plus, they said, funny enough, actually, the signal for the 4G is a longer wave, sine wave or something, they said. So it's actually, it can penetrate things more. So you'll get a better signal with the 4G, although the 5G is faster, you might not get such a quick signal because it's a quicker wave. So it doesn't go through things as well, the 5G, but the 4G does, which I thought was quite interesting actually, because that might mean that if you're struggling with your 5G, maybe flip it back to the 4G and you might get a better signal, although technically it's not so fast. But I think when I've been using both, I kind of haven't really seen the difference between the 4G and the 5G, you know, when I'm playing around on Facebook or whatever. So I think if you are struggling with the 5G, flip it back to 4G and you might find that's a better signal. And now on with the video. But you can take this off and put it in here and take it with you and put it in the awning and do what you want to do with it. So it is fully removable. So you just unclick it like that. Sorry, undo that. Take the cables out, unclick it and take it off, and then you can disappear and do what you like with it then. Which is quite neat, I think. Like that. Now, so the only downside is the cables aren't quite long enough to reach. Well, they are long enough on this one, but it was a bit of a tight squeeze. And I've been reliably informed that it's because these cables can't be too long, because otherwise they start to lose signal. So they have to be as short as possible. Okay, so that was the only downside that I picked up on, and I obviously couldn't use the original holes, which I've done now just to make it look neat. But I would have had to put the tie up here to allow the aerial enough travel in this piece of cable to run up through, like that. Other than that, all works pretty well. I think it's very good, very neat. And like I said, you can reinstate it with another Caravan if you decide to change your Caravan, so you're not wasting your money there. So let's have a look at the Sprite, because there is a slight further modification you're going to need when the aerial has got built-in digital radio signal cable in it. So we're going to have a look at that now. So let's go and have a look at that. So here we have the Sprite Major 4 SB. This is the Grande, which is completely relevant. But I wanted to show you the problem I had when I first started to try and install the new Status Wi-Fi aerial in this Caravan. Now, the first thing I didn't notice was that this aerial has 2 extra wires coming down from it than the one that we get in the box, like I showed you earlier, that you get from Vision Plus. So they only have the one aerial coming down. Now, after a few phone calls and to work out what's going on and asking whether they're going to do a version for this one, he said no, because you can actually modify this. The reason is that this aerial that is supplied to Swift and Coachman actually has the DB wire coming straight from the aerial straight over to the system. As you can see, it goes off into the system, doesn't go through the booster there. Also, you get this little red wire, which apparently, which I didn't know, is for the AM radio, which I can't think that many people actually use anymore. But Swift always wanted to have AM, and they wanted a digital signal to go straight to the unit from the aerial, not go through the booster. So that is a VP2. There is also a VP3 and a VP5. So the difference between that is the VP3 has another TV outlet, and it also has a radio outlet. Now what Bailey do and other manufacturers is they had the DAB radio signal coming down from the coax, and then it splits in the VP3 and then goes off to the aerial that way. So they all have DAB, it's just they do it in a different way. So of course when I went to change this, I couldn't do it because it had a few less wires. After I'd spoken to Vision Plus, they said, well, all you actually really need to do, I said, all you need to do is going to add a little bit more cost and a bit more complexity, is you have to change the VP2 to a VP3, cut this wire and put that over to the radio outlet that's on the VP3, which looks like this. And then what happens is the aerial takes the feed from the digital radio, puts it through the amplifier, and then pushes it over to the radio in a normal way. So that's what you're going to have to do. So you're going to have to change the VP2 to the VP3, snip this and put a connection on it, and then run that back to the radio out. And then unfortunately you're going to have to lose the AM, and you just have to put an end on that and cap it off, because there's no AM signal coming down here. Like I said, I don't know who actually uses it anymore anyway. So that's why I couldn't do it on this one, but you can do it. You just have to do a little bit of extra wiring. Like I said, snip that off, put it onto the VP3. I think they're about, well, they were 25 quid, but I haven't checked them for a while, so they're probably more than that now. But yeah, so you'd have to get a VP3 or VP5 and change that that amplifier over so that it can accommodate that extra wire over there and not coming down through here. And there you go. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you have found it helpful, and it will give you confidence to try and fit one of these yourself. You can buy it from the website directly from Vision Plus. If you go to Vision Plus, you can buy the kit you need. Don't forget there's two types. There is one with the roof light, with the roof fitting in with it, that's the full system, or there is the upgrade system, which is what I've got here. So most people, I would have thought, you'd be going for the upgrade because you've already got a Status 570 built in. If you have the old type and you've got an older Caravan and you want to go from the round one with the pinnacle on the top, you're going to have to buy the full kit, and then also a base plate as well, which they do to remove the old type. And there's a base plate that goes on the roof, and you can screw down through that and fit the new system in it, or put it somewhere else and just completely cover the holes that were there from the old one. But I think most Caravans now have got the 570s. I think it's been a while since I've seen the old type anyway. So yep, there you go. This is a good piece of kit. I think, like I said before, a bit of a no-brainer. I think if you do want Wi-Fi in your Caravan, this is going to be a good thing to do, and I'm fairly sure we're going to be seeing it on the new Caravans coming into 2026, but that remains to be seen. So that's really good, and the router's neat and tidy, and yeah, I think it's a fantastic piece of kit. So check out the website, go and buy one from there, and you can have the confidence to fit it yourself. So again, thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. It'd be quite important to subscribe. Actually, I've got a couple of really kind of juicy videos coming up. One on what to do if you find water ingress in your Caravan and how to address it. I've had a few queries on that, and seen some Facebook pages posts where the advice is less than accurate, should we say. And then also I'm going to do a video on the deal. So if you go into a dealership and you're presented with some figures, what do they mean? How do we present them? Do we front load your part exchange value to make it look better, or do we knock money off the front of the Caravan? And with all the deals going around as well, it's going to be a bit more transparent, because you can't have it both ways. You can't knock money off the front of the Caravan and give yourself and give the customer more on their part exchange. So I'm going to be going through that as well. So that should be a fairly interesting one. So thank you very much again. Like, subscribe, and check out My Ideal Caravan. There's lots more information there on that, and sign up to that. Especially if you're thinking about buying a new Caravan, please. I've had a horrendous day today doing that, and I wish I'd gone on the course. More about that in the what to do when you find a damp video. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and I might do a few more videos stood here because my wife has commented on how tidy my desk is at the back, and it's not normally like that. So I might do a few more videos here. And it's quite comfortable as well, actually. So yeah, look out for them. Thank you very much. See you next time.